Hey, it's Monday night at 8 p.m., which means it's time for another episode of FM Rager. I'm your host, Connor Clifton, joined as always by my lovely co-host, Ned Gale.
Hey, enough. Stop it, guys.
Ned, how the heck are ya?
I'm good. I'm a little wiped.
Yeah, me too. I'm very tired.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the hot weather or the copious amount of drinking I did this weekend, but it's all catching up with me.
Or the smog.
The smog. It could be smog or smaug.
It's been so hot in Houston that we had a smog advisory, I believe, this weekend or maybe this morning.
Jeez.
But if you're feeling like shit, that might be it.
Blame it on the smog.
Yeah. Or it could, like we were joking earlier, it could be BA5, the new COVID strain.
Just dropped. Collect it.
The one they're getting... I don't think they should go with BA5. I think we need to keep it with the Omicron, the Delta.
Yeah, where did BA5 come from? Where did the name come from?
I got no idea.
Well, we have the creator on the show tonight. Welcome,
Dr. Fauci himself.
Yeah, welcome,
we have
Bernard Ass 5.
They maybe two. I mean, if I had to guess, 2 COVID cells overcame the vaccine, said badass, and then high-fived. If I had to guess. Let's see, my man on love. Yeah, too much Bill Callahan. Nice. Was Bill Callahan in town this weekend? What Omicron, BA4, and BA5 variants mean for the pandemic?
BA4? Oh, these are different variants of Omicron.
Yeah, because there was that new, I think it was BA1 was the first one that was just like, okay, BA1 was the Omicron wave, and then BA4 was the one that was just like, this new thing may not stand up to the vaccines. And I'll admit, when I first heard about it, I did get a little like, oh, God, they're trying to freak us out. Even today, like, let's just move along, please. And sure as shit, nearly everyone I know got COVID in the past month.
Is BA4, is that Rise of the Machines or Genesis? I'm trying to remember. It's not in this article.
No. I think it's Fall of Cybertron. But yeah, if you haven't been vaxxed and boosted, go ahead and get it. If you're going out, I don't know what to tell you. We were just talking about that earlier today. We don't know what to... We got some live stuff coming up, and we don't know what to do.
Yeah, we got to figure that out.
Yeah.
But tentative shows coming at the plug section. Check it out. Who knows? Maybe you could get it from us.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know what to do. But we'll find out, and we'll let you know. Anyway, Ned, how was your freaking weekend?
Well, I went out. Went out, danced at Numbers for a little bit. Probably going to regret that in about 5 days. Or
maybe,
sooner.
Maybe 2 days.
Yeah.
I've been stockpiling tests and toilet paper since March of 2020. So if you want to take a test after the show, we can do that.
That might be a fun idea.
Yeah.
Did that. Then kind of hung around. Just kind of...
Yeah.
Had a lazy and celebratory weekend. I signed a lease on a new place.
Yep, that's right.
Effin mansion is now separating.
You heard it here.
Yeah.
We're not going to be roommates anymore come September 1st. I don't know what that's going to mean for the show. That's also something we're trying to figure out.
Big things coming soon. No, we'll figure it out. We're not going off the air quite yet.
Nah, especially now we can do it through Twitter. Maybe we'll go back to KPFT.
Oh,
But
yeah,
we're
they
gonna
have a new
curse this
office.
time around.
Yeah,
we're gonna make sure they know we can say whatever the f we want.
Yeah, effing right.
Yeah.
I'm so afraid to cuss around them. Could you imagine what it would look like if we were in the studio? I think it would look.
I think it would look a little something
like this.
Like this.
Whoa, we're in a fucking studio.
What? Are you kidding me? Here we are back. There's the guy.
It's the famous coffee from KPFT.
That's right. The coffee they always had going. Oh, look, they're the people at Queer Voices. They're angry that we're being
Pissed
wild.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah, they think our show's called Fucking Rager, but who gives a shit?
No, they think it's called Fucking Wasted.
Oh, Fucking Wasted.
We may not have talked about it.
That sounds like a municipal waste song. That's got to tell you.
You know what? We have 3 minutes before we want to bring on our guests. Let's just tell the story really quick.
Oh, yeah,
I don't think
sure.
we've ever talked about it on air. So the first night we did our show at KPFT, people were calling in. Like our friends were calling in to support us and share stories about them getting drunk. And they called the wrong number. They called Queer Voices, which was a LGBTQ-focused
Which was on the FM side. We
Yeah.
were, of course, on the HD2 side, despite
Yes.
our show being called FM Rager.
Yeah. So too many people called Queer Voices instead of us, and they kept saying stuff like, yo, I got fucking wasted at this thing.
I got a party story for you, dude. Yeah.
So their producer, I'm not going to say her name, but she came up to the studio.
She knocked on our door,
Like,
which
"Is
this
your-"
happened a few times while we were on the air.
It's happened a few times.
Yeah.
And she would go, is your show called Fucking Wasted? I'm like, no, it's called Effin Rager. And she explained people were calling her, and we were like, all right, sorry.
Sorry, we have so many adoring fans for
Yeah.
the first week of the show and no longer after that.
So we changed the number on the screen so people could call in correctly. But that just left a bad taste in the mouth of all those people that ran Queer Voices. So, we stuck around at KPFT long enough, and we started making good with that producer in particular
Yeah.
and different hosts.
We helped them get a guest or two.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's right, we
Yeah.
did. And there were, I'll just say it, there was an episode with Cody and Jack that went a little off the
go
rails.
check it out. It's Yacht Squad. I think it's the first video
Yacht
that
Squawk.
comes up. Squawk. I'm sorry. I think it's the first video that comes up when you search FM Rager.
Yeah,
Like, no
so
joke.
if you watch Yacht Squawk near the end, you can see a point where we get distracted, and it's
Yeah,
because
sure enough.
somebody on the Queer Voices team basically knocked on the window and threw his arms up, making fun of how animated we were getting.
Yeah. I think if you watch that video, you can see all of us kind of like, like kind of looking past the camera, like, are we getting yelled at? And the guy's just making fun of us, like.
And we thought there were no consequences until there was a punk rock historian that he was a queer man, a gay man, affiliated with Queer Voices, and we wanted to have him on the show. And when I emailed him, he sent back quite a condescending email about how our show was not worth his time. So yeah, if there is a gay mafia in Houston, they hate our guts.
Yeah, we're on their list.
But maybe we can go back and everything will be copacetic.
We'll have to see. We
I
should
don't
hit
wanna
up
go-
KPFT.
I would go back to KPFT with a different show, not this one.
Yeah.
we
I want
we-
to do a music show there.
Yeah.
Can you do that still?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Kind of cool.
So a Houston version of the Best Show, starring us, coming sometime. A 3-hour slot. I think that's what you gotta do. You gotta go for 3 hours.
Oh God, we could fill it.
All right. And before we get to our guest, I didn't do anything this weekend. My girlfriend has COVID, so I just sat around the house and
Playing good games. How'd you pass the time? What'd you do?
I played Dragon Quest XI and watched Breaking Bad.
Sick.
Yeah, I'm rewatching it to prepare for the ending of Better Call Saul, which I am currently watching.
Man.
Pretty slow weekend. A lot of false starts of like making plans, hoping that there's a negative test coming, and it's a positive test. So you're like, all right, well, there goes anything I wanted to do today. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get our guest. We're really
Yeah.
excited for this.
Let's jump in.
We'll be right back, y'all. And we're back. Hey, everybody. Thanks for sticking around. Your guest tonight, you've seen her on the show before. They're very, very awesome. They are an organizer here in town, and they own the bar Two-Headed Dog and Pelican and the Shark out in Galveston. Please give a warm, warm welcome to Lindsay Rae. Bear with us. Hey, Lindsay. How are you doing tonight?
Good. How are you guys? And you guys have like applause tracks. You're all fancy now.
Oh, we're doing
yeah.
it all.
Yeah. That's why we were saying earlier we don't want to go back to KPFT because look at how fancy we've gotten
Look
without
at
them.
our empire.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't have glitter letters there. Bullshit.
No,
That's
not
true.
at all. No calls to action, no glitter letters, none of that stuff. It's insane. It's authoritarian, that radio station.
Rude.
So, Lindsay, since we last had you on the show, you have opened up a new bar out in Galveston.
Yeah, so working on a new new project in Galveston called Pelican and the Shark.
So what makes this different than Two-Headed Dog besides the name and location?
It's in the ocean.
That's true.
Is it chained up at least?
No, it's like you got to go in. No, it's fine. So it's actually a business partner of mine. He actually owns the 61st Street Pier, and he had always dreamed of opening a bar up top. It used to be like just an observation deck. So it's this 24-hour fishing pier. It's a very bizarre world, and he wanted to open a bar. And so he hit me up and was like, hey, do you want to open this bar up top? Help me do it. So I went out there and we opened Pelican and the Shark. And so it's been open since April. Mm-hmm. And we just kind of like slow, getting through our first summer season. The restaurant part will be opened hopefully in the next like 3 weeks.
What kind of food are we talking?
Huh?
What kind of food are we talking at the restaurant?
We're going to do like grilled oysters, catfish baskets, but then also like beach food because we'll be doing to-goes to the beach. So like things on a stick or like things that are wrapped up. Like we're not going to be a salad spot. You know what I mean?
Oysters on a stick.
Yeah, I would love to see seagulls on a stick and just one of your employees is like trying to get them from the pier.
We were talking about doing chicken wings and Austin wanted to call them seagull wings. And I was like...
Wait,
those things are jerks. The grackles are the really bad ones. They will straight up steal the fisherman's bait. They'll like jump down there and like open their chest and like steal the shrimp.
Wow.
All right, let's show some pictures because this bar is so sweet looking.
Have you gotten out there, Ned?
I have not gone out there yet.
I went there a few weeks ago. Loved it.
Man.
I got a pina colada and it was very, very good.
Look at this.
Oh, look at there. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's an incredible view for anyone in the chat who's wanting to check it out or wants to go to Galveston. Please stop at this place. It's really, really cool. Very awesome.
And it's really easy. What I tell everybody is like 61st Street and Seawall. If you just kept going into the seawall, you would
just
end
as
up
I
there.
imagine every time I drive down there, just driving straight into the ocean.
Someone did the other day.
No.
This 17-year-old kid, I guess, and we have the video footage where like he hits and then just like tries to like Austin powers his way around and the car just falls in.
Oh no.
I know. He was in so much trouble. Someone's getting their driver's license taken away.
Yeah.
So opening up a bar on the beach, what are some of the unique challenges you face there as opposed to opening up a bar in the middle of the city?
Wind. It's all like wind. Everything's Velcroed down. Literally, if the wind's over 25 miles per hour, we have to shut down for the day. Like the POS system got flown off. We've had straws go everywhere. People are like pour shots and they're like going that way.
Into my cup.
Wow.
Yeah, because we're like outside. So it's like we're dependent on weather. So when it's raining, we've got to kind of like shut it down. When it's windy, we got to shut down for the day. And also just serving tourists, right? Because I would say like 60% of our business is tourists and people having different palates and coming from different regions. It's very interesting what they want to order and trying to make sure that we have like the first month we were there, I guess a lot of people come down from like Wisconsin. And so like Jameson soda with olive is like a big deal. I'd never heard of that before. Where it's just like people come like bushwhackers. People want bushwhackers recently, and they're all coming from a certain region. So it's really interesting to try to meet their needs and be like, no, this is our menu.
Yeah. What is a bushwhacker?
It's like this blended banana rum cocktail, but I've also heard it's a shot where you put your hand in the ice and you throw it out. So there's like been multiple versions of this that I've heard about.
Yeesh. I don't want
Yeah, everyone's got it, or like different shots. So we try to do like really tasty tropical style drinks.
Yeah.
And then and a margarita. I feel like that's the most Texas thing you can do. And then add spicy options. But for the most part, like 4 frozens, 5 classics, and then just a back bar. Like I didn't know people love Crown Apple so much. Like that's a whole last thing.
Yeah. Now my mom lives OTI as she called it on the island.
Yeah. Is she BLI?
What?
That's his mother, dude. Don't say that.
It's born on the island, or
no,
you're
God.
OTI on the island?
No,
Yeah.
she's on the island. She's born in Brown, Texas.
We're all BOTB CCR, born on the bayou CCR, baby.
She's not local, but she's been there long enough that she says she's local. She's in charge of her Libertarian Homeowners Association.
Oh.
That's what? How does that even work?
Not in your front yard is pretty much what they say. But man, I've been holding on to that for like 2 years. I'm glad I finally got to play it. But
what's that bar around that area? What's it called? That's like you're going down
the seawall. Oh, Woody's.
Is it Woody? No, there was one with a silly name. Maybe it was Woody's. I don't know.
Poop Deck is pretty silly.
No, it's not Poop Deck.
Well, I was wondering if opening up a bar in Galveston, if you've been able to tap into the local market and if you've hit it off with the locals.
Yeah, surprisingly so. We have quite a few locals. We also have a bunch of locals that work for us, which is really great. And we do this locals only discount. So if you live on the island and you kind of like know the bartender or whatever, so it's regular pricing instead of like tourist pricing, just to kind of keep that going. Because like the locals are what support you in the winter months. So we're really trying to reach out to them. We do. There was a concert series with a lot of local musicians that we do. It's really interesting because at first they're like, wait a minute. It's not that it's a requirement, but the staff's like very heavily tattooed. And so they're all like, wait, what's going on here? But yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Well, I wanted to get into one of the other reasons that we had you on here. Lindsay, you have been an active and vocal organizer for abortion rights access here abortion rights and abortion access here in the state of Texas. And I wanted to talk to you about some of the work you've been doing, and especially I wanted to talk about the 1973 project.
Yeah. So, it's been an adventure, right? So for the past like 3 years, 3.5, 4 years, I've been working with this organization called I'll Have What She's Having. So I'll Have What She's Having was formed in 2018 by Lori Cho, Lisa Seeger, and 3 or 4 other women in the restaurant and beverage industry. And they really put it together as a place to really focus on women's health issues. And then it kind of changed into a larger issue of just health issues that face the restaurant and beverage industry as a whole. And what people don't realize, like Harris County, 1 out of 4 people are uninsured. And the largest demographic of that is people that work in the food and beverage industry. So we saw that like people weren't getting well women's exams. People weren't getting just wellness exams at all. Like they just were ignoring everything about themselves. And another thing that we were realizing is that there was a huge issue with no one getting access to birth control or IUDs or mammograms. And so we just kind of started working on these issues by issue. And then when a health issue came up that was affecting us, we really hit it hard because we have a network of like 120 women and other industry workers in the city to fundraise for. Well, as soon as SB 8 got passed, I think I was just kind of over it. I'd already been like fighting through COVID and dealing with the state legislator and laws and running the Texas Neighborhood Bar Coalition and really becoming active, and just saw like how much bullshit and bullying there is in government. And when this happened, we started organizing right when SB 8 passed of like, what can we do to help people? And it's just kind of snowballed to where I'm almost a full-time abortion rights activist now. So, and that's mainly with the 1973 project, which is part of I'll Have What She's Having, because I'll Have What She's Having does, healthcare services and provides things for a number of resources. Like we do, if you need a doula, we're going to make sure you get a doula if you don't have insurance. You want a vasectomy, we're going to make sure you get that, like mental health issues. But I mainly focus on our abortion side of things.
And with the with Roe v. Wade being struck down,
there's a big thing that people don't talk about is that there were all these like trigger laws that were in effect and had been. So Roe v. Wade, right, was just kind of a law in the books. You couldn't really fight the law. You tried to sue it, you couldn't. Well, it was never codified into law that abortion access is legal. Right? It was always the possibility if that got overturned, then the right to abortion access, basic health care would be bounced back to the states. So a lot of states, what they started doing with these SB 8, they started slowly eating away at abortion rights because they wanted to implement these trigger laws. So as soon as Roe v. Wade got overturned, then automatically abortion would be illegal in your state. So Texas is one of those states. God, I can't remember the guy's name. Mitchell. He used to be the lawyer for the state. He was like a Supreme Court clerk. He's the guy that's writing a lot of these Republican, extremely conservative laws, and like suing and codifying these things. And so the 1925 law that bans abortion and those who help those access abortion. So like right now they're going at the funding groups, they're going at the service groups, like anybody and everybody they're going after if you're funding abortions. Like right now, it's not illegal to help someone get an abortion out of state, but they're working on laws right now. There are cases that are in the mix where they're trying to get it to where it is legal, and it's up to 5 years in prison.
Damn. Holy shit! And I know Texas has the bounty law in place.
So the bounty law was one of those, and so the bounty law doesn't criminalize you, right? It's the one where they can just sue you. It's not criminal. It's
civil.
Civil, yeah. So that's more of like a civil law. So you can be sued in civil court. So there's 3 of those cases going on right now. But the criminal the criminal cases, those things are about to hit because there was a 5-day stay in the trigger laws that didn't allow the 1925 law to go in effect. And in that, there were 4 abortion clinics that did provide health care to women that needed abortions up to 6 weeks. Well, when that got overturned, Ken Paxton is the guy who really fought hard to overturn that. Then he said he's going to use those clinics that gave those services. They're going to start trying to criminalize and prosecute them. And so that is where it's the 5-year, or you can be convicted of murder.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, like it's serious, and now what they're going after too is like something like the 1973 Project, something like the Lilith Fund, something like Kaysen, right?
Yeah.
And these are people that are nonprofits that fund money specifically for services. What they're trying to do is sue those. So if you work for them, if you are known to have helped someone get an abortion, if you raise funds and say this is for abortion access, and somebody uses those funds, goes out of state, gets an abortion with those funds, you can be criminally prosecuted. That's what they're working towards right now. It's not illegal right now, but they're really trying to make it so. There's this group in the Texas Senate. It's like I want to say it's like 12 of them. It's called the Freedom Caucus.
Yeah.
And these guys, man, talk about some just, oh my God. Anyways, rude.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to curse. Like,
you can curse on your show.
You can definitely curse on the show.
You can curse on the show.
But these guys straight up, they send out letters to all these lawyers that say like, hey, if you represent someone, if you help an organization, if you help anybody try to get an abortion, we're going to sue you. And if you represent these people, we're going to make sure we're going to put a bounty on your head and take away your ability to do law in Texas. That's crazy.
So, wait, are they? So if a lawyer, I'm sorry, but did you say that if a lawyer represents any of these groups, they'll take away
this Freedom Caucus wrote them? It's like 2 law firms that said, hey, if you get sued by these bounty laws, if you get sued by anything, we'll represent you for free. And this Freedom Caucus wrote this letter. It's out there. You can pull it up. And was just like, we're going to make sure we're going to take away your ability to do law. We're going to make sure we're coming for you if you help these people murder. Is that not crazy?
That is crazy. I know that the bounty law, from what I know about it, is that anyone in America can sue you. Maybe anyone can sue you if they suspect you of helping someone with an abortion or secure an abortion. And at the same time, if they lose that lawsuit, they do not have to compensate you for any loss of legal fees. So,
no, the state covers their representation.
That is, I don't know.
And these are laws that were happening and we laughed at it, right? We're like, oh, that's so crazy. No one really, the idea of Roe v. Wade getting overturned, nobody thought about this, right? We were thinking like, this is going to be the worst of it. We're going to fight. It's going to, Roe's always going to stay there. But now we have to think in a post Roe v. Wade world is that Roe v. Wade was the floor, right? That was us asking for little. Now we've got to ask for more, right? Like free access to abortion and it's seen as healthcare is where the next step needs to go. And that's what we need to be activists for. And in that, it's going to be some scary times. We don't know where the law is. Like CRR, right? Center for Reproductive Rights are like, they're like this international organization that like writes the law, right? They've had this group of lawyers. They're huge advocates for this. They don't even know. They're just telling everybody, like, because everything's a state issue, you need to talk to your lawyer in your state. All these orgs like CASIN, Lilith Fund, T Fund, everybody's stopped. They've pretty much just stopped because they don't know what's going to happen. And the possibility of getting tried for murder, they're trying to figure out strategically what to do. Like it pretty much just stopped all healthcare when it came to a woman's right to choose. It's insane.
So we talked about this a few weeks ago, and I want to follow up on it here. Some of the groups that you mentioned earlier, Lilith Fund and CASIN, as I understand it, they're I don't want to say dead in the water, but they can't really do anything right now because of these laws, correct?
They can't do anything. They don't know what to do. Legally, they're being told to stop, right? And so when you think about abortion access, right, it's really it's 4 tiers, right? So you have services, the service providers, right? The people that make sure people can get the services. But then you also, so that's like CASIN, that's Lilith, those are the, abortion clinics, right? Those are the services. Then you have places like Eval, where Eval is education, storytelling, right? They're helping take away the stigma of abortion, right? So that's equally as important. Then you have the lawyers, which you have someone like CRR. They're writing the laws. They're fighting to make sure that like international sanctions, I want to say it was Ireland when they took away abortion as like an entire country. There were like NATO sanctions on them because of the CRR. It's so crazy that America gets away with a different set of laws than everyone else. And then the fourth one, right, is going to be the PACs. These are the people that really politically kind of pull the strings, because someone like CASIN, someone like I'll Have What She's Having, or the 1973 Project, we're a 501c3. We can only donate up to 15% of the monies we fundraise to political groups, right? Those are called PACs. And what we really need right now, and what we should have been doing about 3 or 4 years ago, was giving money to these PACs to really lobby for us and push for us, and to make it almost a money game for those. It sucks. I mean, it's just where we're at, right? And so right now, I think the biggest bang for, when people fundraise is they need to be giving to the PACs. Like they need to be given to like NARAL and Eval Texas PAC, and those organizations are going to be fighting politically, or the lawyer organizations like CRR, right? Like that's where the money needs to go, because service providers in Texas, they can't provide the services, right? Or unless like my Plan C, those guys are great. They're based out of Denver, and they are totally working this like railroad of making sure people get access to the healthcare they need in a different state. And that's all I can really say on that. But, the PACs are definitely donating to them is going to be the most long-term helpful. And then my Plan C in Denver for sure.
Now, I kind of have a little grim question here, but my understanding of when Ireland restored the right to an abortion, it was a woman died in the hospital of a ectopic pregnancy, and the whole nation was shocked into, we need to do something. We need to change this.
Yeah. I mean, we're going back to that, right? Like, there's no stopping abortion. There's only making safe access to abortion illegal. That's all that's happening. And I don't think people realize that, like, they're just so out of touch sometimes because it doesn't affect them in that way, right? Like, you have your own moral, religious views. You see your life like you're around people that are just like you're in your bubble, and you don't realize that other people have different needs. Other people have different things that could be happening to them. Like a child, right? Like there's a case right now where there's a 10-year-old child who was raped. like this stuff is real. It happens.
Yeah.
I mean, it might be 1 out of 40, 1 out of 40,000 people this happened to, but it happens.
happening,
Like
yeah.
these tall tales come from places of truth.
I was going to bring that that rape victim up, and my question about just like, I'm starting to get really skeptical that, I mean, even with mass shootings going on in this country damn near every day, what kind of story is it going to take to shock Americans into realizing that there are real consequences? Because immediately the right started saying, oh, who's the kid? This is a liar. Why can't we find the victim? Victim gets found. They're immediately like, well, we need to find a doctor. We need to find a victim. And I just wonder how you do it every day, I guess.
I mean, there's so much of a spin cycle to it, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think for me personally, right? Like, I don't care why you get an abortion. I don't care why you need an abortion. You have full access and the right to do what you need to do and you think best is for your body, right? Like I just look at it as abortion as healthcare. Take the moral stance out of it because everybody's playing by their own set of morals. It is a medical procedure that people should have access to if it's something they want, And when I don't even fight the moral arguments anymore because it's not about morality. It's about control. And I refuse to allow somebody to control and in a way that forces birth. Like in a system, if they truly, truly cared, there would be systems in place to take care of someone who's having a child, right? Because the Medicaid stuff, I'm going through that right now, helping someone get through the Medicaid second trimester. They're supposed to have it to you in 30 days. But before then, if you don't have the money, you can only go to these facilities to get an ultrasound. And then when you run out, you've got to wait for Medicaid to kick in. Then it's only going to support you. It only supports the baby. And then once the baby's born, you're off. Like, it's so messed up that it's stacked against you. And so they're forcing people to have children and then refusing to give support. And if they really cared, there would be healthcare and support after. And there's not. So that conversation of that you care is out already, right? I just don't listen to that. It's healthcare that we need access to because the system's broken.
Yeah. Now, moving into things that you can do to prevent pregnancy. Abstinence, always.
Right now,
prayer.
Right? Preventative care is really important. And it's something we also don't talk about. And teaching fucking abstinence in school, and that's the only thing you teach. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy too. Like, that's part of the programming that they teach. It's abstinence only education, which is insane. Like, no, most teenagers aren't aware of IUDs. They're not aware of this idea or myth around vasectomies that like, oh no, it's this permanent thing. Like, it's reversible. And if you're paying for it, it's usually only $700. Like, and it's this reversible thing that you can do, right? Like IUDs, like that's kind of gnarly sometimes for a woman. People have reactions to certain birth control.
Yeah.
And so the whole thing just blows my mind. But I'll have what she's having, the 1973 project. We are, if you are in the industry or you're someone that's just uninsured and need to reach out, we are funding IUDs and vasectomies. Cool. We actually, our first IUD day is going to be, I think August 20th was the one we've got doctors and we've got urologists to donate their time to do these procedures for free because they see that we're about to have, things are about to get really sketchy.
Yeah. It's great. I always thought IUDs were like a relatively new form of birth control, but I just learned about them and I was like, oh, okay. And then maybe a year later I learned they're quite old. They are an established form of birth control.
Mm-hmm. They've gotten a lot better in the way that they're not going to make you sick or poison you. You know what I mean? But they just had to figure that out, do a few thousand women. Like, it's insane. Yeah,
it's pretty disgusting. Well, my last question in this topic would be about what can we do? I mean, we already talked about ways that we can, places that we can send our money, and we've all heard over and over to vote and get out there and vote early and vote often. But what else can we do in our day-to-day right now?
I think day to day right now, it's like it's changing your vernacular, right? Like
Okay.
not being able to say like, hey, I support abortion. I think if we slowly start changing our vernacular as we talk to things, right? Like even me 3 years ago, I was like, yeah, I'm pro-choice. I'm pro-choice. Fuck that. I'm pro-abortion. I am pro-abortion. That should be a legal, safe medical procedure. And in that, and being pro-abortion is very different because pro-choice, you can switch the terminology. Well, I'm pro-choice, but if this is the choice they want to have, like, no, it's not my opinion. It's what somebody else is doing with their body. This is a medical procedure they should get access to. So I think the way we talk about things, right? Not being afraid to talk about preventative, preventative sexual, things like IUDs and birth control, and openly talking about that and not being afraid. Because the more we talk about it, the more it's open, the more language changes, then it slowly shifts culture. And I think this is going to be a really long battle. And so it's just changing everyday vernacular in a way that gives power to what we want. I think that's just like a simple thing, right?
Yeah.
It's definitely like giving funds, but giving funds in the right way at the right time. And that's really difficult. So definitely following someone like NARAL. They're really great. They're a national organization that'll show you like what's going on state to state,
Cool.
being there and helping friends, right? Like if you're somebody who needs access to healthcare, contact I'll have what she's having. We've partnered with many people in the past that we can send you information or send you on to somebody else who might have better information, knowing these resources and sharing those resources, and not being a snitch.
Yes, I think now we should definitely make sure everyone knows you cannot snitch about this.
Yes.
Being a confidant for someone who's really in need. I mean, it's not going to get any easier. Don't letting the ennui set in, and 4 months from now, you don't care about this.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing that worries me the most, like it's great you go to the marches, but what are you doing outside the march? Like that's what's really important. What are you doing 6 months later? Just because you check that thing off the box doesn't mean that it's fixed. And then holding people accountable, the people that represent you, hold them accountable, write letters, like reach out to them and say, hey, because it's 70 to 80% of people in the United States, every time they go and survey it, right? It's always over 70%. I think the highest was like 87, 88%. When they survey, they are totally okay with abortions. Like they want that, but for some reason, because we've stigmatized it, because we made it this like moral argument and we keep fighting those things, we're getting these laws passed that don't represent us at all whatsoever.
Yeah. Now, I have a feeling all three of us are from the South, and I have a feeling that a lot of people in my chat are from the South. But we talked about changing the language, and I want to know, look, we all got the family member who is either anti-abortion or is like, I'm a libertarian, but I just don't want to hear about it. What are active things we can do in our rhetoric or changing how we talk to grandma about these things? And have you had any success?
Being honest about your story. My grandmother was like, you're killing those poor babies. The Planned Parenthood's doing this. And I stopped arguing with her in a way that like we couldn't have a conversation. And I very like just boldly told her like, Nana, I've had 2 abortions. I think the way we change the way someone's think is that when someone they love goes through it, when someone's affected. So I think it's becoming a powerful storyteller of your own story when you relate to those people. Will slowly change their opinions, right?
Yeah.
And that's hard. That's hard for people to face. But there's really great groups like Avow Storytellers where you can reach out to them and say, hey, I'm having a really hard time. I want to share my story, but I don't know how. There's these programs that are set up for you to be able to share your story in a way that you want to. And I think sharing your story with family members that you don't really get along with or see eye to eye, but they still love you and you still care about them, I think changes the way they see things slowly, right? I think sticking to your guns in a way that isn't like demeaning. You hear them, you listen, you say, listen, I don't think this is a religious thing. I think this is basic healthcare, and I think calmly talking to people, right? You don't change culture. You don't change. No one's going to listen to your opinion if you're shouting at them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, shit.
And then some people just are never going to change their mind, right?
Yeah.
And that's okay. Like, it's not always about them, you know. What it is about is like the people that are just apathetic towards it, like getting them to, I don't really care, I don't really want to talk about it. Well, if you care about me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Will you understand that like I need your support on this?
Yeah. Damn. No, I'm thinking about it. My parents, anytime a family member comes out, they get a little less homophobic, and I think if we can apply that logic to this and you can talk about it, then they'll have to face the reality of like, oh yeah, this would have really changed your life if you had gone through with it.
I mean, think about even in the last year with this outrage and rage, how many women have openly talked about their abortions that never had before?
Yeah.
You know, and I think with that, it starts stigmatizing it, you know, being there and listening to the stories, understanding that it is a very normal thing that happens often. And for whatever reasons, it's not your place to judge why they chose that. But guess what? They had the procedure, you know, but some people like, we change this dialogue. It's why they like sensationalize things, is because we as humans want to attach to a story, right? We want this like cathartic, we want to feel, we want to see what we think is morally right. We want a protagonist and an antagonist, right? Life's not really fucking like that.
Yeah.
So I think if we stop judging things by good and evil and just like, this is what life is. This is what people need to survive.
Absolutely. Well, my last question for you would be, what can we be hopeful about right now? What can we look to inspire us to keep moving forward in this fight? Oh my gosh, your face. Oh man.
It's hard, man, and
Some
it's
of the
okay to
bars are
say that
open.
it sucks. And you don't always need some inspirational quote, right?
Yeah.
Like I work for this company, Livewire, right? Like and I love my boss, Polsky. He's like an amazing dude. But we do these roundtable like meetings every week, and at the end of it, he goes, "What self-care are you doing?" You know? And I usually often just yell, "Self-care doesn't live here, y'all." Because they're all like from California, and you know, they're like, I'm doing yoga, and I'm like, self-care doesn't fucking live here. I'm in Texas. I think it's the hope that one day, like, we're working on generational change, right? If we stop thinking about how does this affect me right now? What about me? Like, we're really fighting for a generational change. I think a lot of great things came out of the 60s that we as children of the 80s and 90s got to benefit from. And then I think because we didn't really get pushed, we really didn't have things that we socially saw that we need to fight for, we let things kind of slip away. So I think if we start thinking about things generationally and really work for what we want to see, maybe when we're not around, and understand that like we as humans, you know, are going to keep going. Let's try to be good, but not in this like moral battle. It's like, you know, personally, let's try to be good to one of each other, like that Bill and Ted vibe, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I want to move into our final segment. It's a song. So sorry, this is a heavy conversation, but we have to sing a little song right now to let us plug things.
Here we go.
Hang on.
Oh, why is it not
It's
working?
been so long since you've been here.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Why is the song not even...
This was a bit that we started out to troll John Wayne, and we've done it every episode since.
Here we go.
Oh no.
I want a new plug. I hate this. Tell me what's going on. So embarrassing. Tell us all the stuff you're doing after we sing this song.
If you don't own it, it doesn't work.
Cut the song. Cut the song. Cut the song.
right, this is
Lindsay, are there anything that you would like to plug?
You're pissed.
I don't know that song. What? Oh my God. Whoa.
Have you never heard
yeah.
I Want a New Drug by Huey Lewis and the News?
Yeah, I had. I was hoping not to again, but here it is. Yeah, so a few things to plug. 1973 Project. It is a social media campaign, but it raises funds specifically to give people access to the healthcare they need. I'll have what she's having.org. Hit us up if you're looking for just basic healthcare services. We got you covered. If you work in the industry, if you're someone without insurance, we can still get you to where you need to go, even if you don't work in the industry. But if you were a bar or restaurant worker, we definitely have you covered. Pelican and the Shark, $6 frozen margaritas on Monday. Two-headed dog still there. Right now, tonight, we have the Monday Writers Salon. So if you're a writer, Brooke Lightfoot's running that bad boy.
Oh.
Yeah, and then we have Power Hour going on now from 4 to 5 every day at Two Headed Dog, $5 frozens. I feel like a weird commercial. And Killing Time. I'm DJing country music now.
That's
Oh,
right.
sick.
You're a DJ. How have you been liking being a DJ now?
I love it. I got some turntables, and now I'm nerding out about like mixers and needles. And I mean, I don't look like it, but I only DJ country vinyl from like the 30s to like modern stuff, but modern alternative like Americana. Yeah.
What
So
would that
doing
be?
that monthly with Scott Butt. We're called Killing Time. Sometimes there's dancing lessons. Sometimes there's roping lessons.
What was that B-side that you were freaking out about when I talked to you? Scott Butts showed up, and y'all were talking about some B-side, and you were losing it over that.
No, so Neon Moon. So Neon Moon is one of the Brooks and Dunn song is one of the hardest 45s to get. It's also could go anywhere from $300 to $500 depending on where you're trying to buy it. And it's one song, right? 45 is one song on one side, one on the other. And the B-side's just total shitty. It's awful. No one fucking likes this song, but you're paying so much money for this one record. And Scott Butt got me one. He brought me a copy of Neon Moon, and I cried like a child.
Nice. Well, I'm happy you got
really
the
sweet.
B-side.
I know. He's so sweet. He's my favorite. Go to his bar. He owns Poison Girl. Go
sick.
to his bar.
All right, Ned, let's get through our plugs real quick. Let's see. This Saturday, we will be live for the first time in several years at Station Theater at 9 p.m.
9:30 p.m.
9:30 p.m.
Come out and check it out. Aaron Michaels and Abby Volman will be opening up the show, and we will hopefully be interviewing
Yeah,
them.
well, hopefully
we
be
should
having
ask
them on the show. We'll see.
Yeah.
And then next Tuesday, Neo Benchy at PJ's Upstairs. Yeah, and like we said earlier in the show, we're keeping an eye on this BA5, so we'll let you know if there's any changes to that. Hopefully not. And then August 13th, Ned and I will be at Anime Houston doing another live FM Rager,
Right.
where we'll be spilling all of our anime secrets, violating all of our NDAs. And then later on in the night, Honey, I Shrunk the Binge, followed by the week after that, another live show at Station Theater. I got the confirmation. I don't know if Ned's going to be there, though,
Yeah,
so we'll figure
I might
that
be
out.
out of town, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Could be Is That a Foul Live? The point being is we're back, we're in the flesh, and COVID is running rampant.
What a time to come back. Ned, do you have anything else that you'd like to plug?
Swimwear Department will be playing August 6th at House of Blues. I'm working on a flyer right now, so I can't show that to you, but it's with a fantastic ska band called Hans Gruber and the Diehards. And if you're in Austin, we'll be there.
You got them? You booked them?
We booked them, and we'll be in Austin the day before at Kick Butt Coffee, which I'm very stoked
Like,
about.
that's real. That's not a joke.
Hans Gruber and the Diehards, fantastic ska band. Yeah.
A ska band with 2 albums in them.
Wait, is Fantastic Ska Band in their band name too?
Yeah. It's Mr. Megorium's wonderful, fantastic ska band. And Speakeasy.
All right. Well, that's all we have to plug. Lindsay, do you have any parting words for our audience?
No, man. Just be kind.
All right. You heard it here first. Be kind, everyone. We'll catch you next week. Bye.
Bye.